Armet. What fun. I guess the thing we'll talk about first are the bowls. Once you've dished out the bowls, very similar to the salad pattern or the barboot pattern, except that these have the convenient little start of the tail on them. They'll come up smoothly, very much like the bassinet or something like that. And what you need to do is be able to pull a crest out of it. A couple of ways you can do it.
Is this the same way you do the crest out of a barboot or a salad?
Sometimes. The barboot has a very
General.
It does not have as defined of a crest. It's much more I don't know, like a Gothic arch or something like that. A couple of ways you can do this. One is before it's welded, actually flare off a short amount of the helmet bowl. You then have to make sure that your edges are smooth and flat. Otherwise, you'll get strange inaccurate crests. Who knows? The other way is once it's welded together, if you know you have a lot of metal, you can actually go in with like a big chisel, blunted chisel, and hammer it in, pound it out actually from the inside into a lead block or wooden stump or something like that. Or what we've done is made up a stake that has a little step in it. It's not on the camera, in the frame. Note it has a small step in it. So what we do is we set the helmet bowl, we can put the helmet bowl on that and start hammering this edge down. Unfortunately, it leaves, you'll notice, it leaves a bump and a rather ungraceful appearance to the helmet bowl. Once this crest is essentially formed, you then have to go over the rest of the helmet bowl and push this down and in using a large ball. You could use the largest size shot put, bottom of a scuba tank, any number of rounded objects making up a steel ball. Some have even reputedly used bowling balls. And that would probably even work quite reasonably. Once you have this all basically shaped and planished, you can go on to making the cheek plates. You'll notice this is approximately 1450s, probably closer to 60, 65 Armet cheek plates. There's a little bit more flare here than you'll find on some of the earlier ones, a little more chin definition. But the way these are done is there's a band of dishing done right in here, and do that basically into either the shallowest or probably next to shallowest dish. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. And some dishing in the chin. Then this is all evened up by planishing. The bottom is then flared on the bick horn or an anvil horn like this, starting about 2.5 inches up in the very back, tapering its way down to almost nothing at the chin. This will get a small flare, probably about 1/2 inch, maybe a little larger, to accommodate the mail that's depended from it. These are then fitted to the bowl of the helmet. As you can see, they're pretty close, and that's done by hammering them over a ball or curling them over a bighorn or things like that to get them to fit like that. I've got them bolted on currently a little too tall. I'll probably have to lose about a 3/8 of an inch off the top of this cheek plate. The point where these bolts are is where a hinge will go, and that's obviously to allow the opening of the Armet. The hinges occur just slightly past halfway. If you run a line down the center of the Armet, the hinges are about 3/4 of an inch or an inch past that. A number of things that allows, when you open it up, a little more headroom when they open out. This has to be out some. You notice the chin has to stick out further, or at least the same as the brow of the Armet. Probably even, maybe even a little bit more. Otherwise, there will not be any chin room in the Armet. These upper parts probably stick out a little bit too far. They'll probably need to curl in a little bit. When this is all ground and finalized, this edge will be turned. Will be a small folded edge here. Technically, when this is also done, there should be a folded edge here. The way the brow plate is done, after cutting it out, dealing with the edges, the entire piece is sunk out into the helmet dish. It'd be fine doing that only if it were essentially a ball. But since we have a much more tightly, what will be a much more tightly curved area right here, you have to dish. If you can see this line, if you can envision the brow plate here, this center section will have to be dished far deeper. If you can take it out into a spalder dish, or even like an elbow or knee cup dish, far deeper, it'll make your life much, much easier.
Say like a 1/2 inch wide or hammer width wide strip?
Probably even a little bit more. You have to do more than that. You have to probably do about a 2-inch strip so that you can take it out gently enough that you just don't rip a hole in the center, that you don't get it so thin. Then you'll want to be working probably with 14 gauge, so that you've got enough metal to dish out with a steel. You got to do it with a steel hammer. You can't do it with a rawhide mallet. You can do everything else with a rawhide mallet, but you got to do the center section with a steel hammer. At that point, you can start roughly fitting it using the rawhide mallet and the steel hammer. Once you've got your crest smooth on the Armet, basically cleaned up, you can start forcing and forming the brow reinforce over that. With a ball backing this up, you can actually do a lot of this crease work here and get the thing fitted quite close. You realize if the plate itself is dished just slightly deeper than the bowls of the Armet, that at least on the edges, it will, if you get it right, it will always be in contact. And that's preferable so you don't get moisture and crud in there. You know, the closer you get this edge, the better. There's one example that they just took apart as part of a restoration job, I believe in the Metropolitan? I don't remember. They took the brow plate off, and underneath it was the original polish. So it does, you know, if you get it fitting right, you've got it. There's also there should also be a small flare or boxing on the bottom edge of that brow reinforce.
Does it go to the edge of the helmet or below the edge of the helmet?
Well, if you're... Nice try. The brow plate will come essentially to the bottom of the eye slot. Well, it should come below the bottom of the eye slot, or the bottom of the bowl, pardon me. the flare, the top edge of that little boxing or flare should probably correspond with the bottom of the bowl.
Flare out or flare in?
Out.
Okay.
Looking in many of the metropolitan books show, at least in Armet, the Tower of London has a number of Armets, and you can see how that is shaped. It's very much like the triangle. It looks often like a triangular roll or part of the triangular roll, and it's a very sharp, creased, at least flare. Sometimes it seems to be boxed. Okay, the visor pivots tend to be pretty much centered. I don't know. What do you want? You know, without one to actually show you the form and function, it's going to be hard to give you what you need. You know, we talked about some of it in terms of, and drew it on the patterns to show you how to fit it to this, but without one I can't really describe it.
Okay, well, then we'll have to live with that then.
Don't worry, Mom, I'm eating right. So we could, how much time we got? Mere nanoseconds?
Yeah, probably about 2 minutes.
Oh, well, in that case, put it on pause a second. Good day, eh? So, congratulations, Brian. Coming to you live from Video City here. Thought I'd show you this novel and nifty little whimsy we picked up recently. Hope you like the previous nonsense on the tape. Oh, and we have some dishes that I'll also send out to you. Like the shades? Thanks. I have no idea. I'm stunned. How can we let this go on? I have no idea.
Piece of metal, piece of metal!
Yeah, well, that was pleasant. Oh, here. I figure you deserve to see the suit again. You've probably seen pans of it so far, but here's some more. Why not?
Pull out the wrapper.
Pull
Behind
out
you.
the...
left arm. It's on the floor.
Oh, yes, of course. And the reinforce. Think it's big enough? It's possible.
Inside.
Quite amusing, isn't it? Yes, I used a weld. Too bad. It's the way it goes sometimes. Here's the beginning of the spalder for your suit. Dainty, cheesy.
Was he ordering the suit from you?
Yes. Here's the beginning of the cuirass. Hope you liked it. Well, I think that pretty well sums it up now, doesn't it? Oh, by the way, I've fallen off the wagon. So take off, you